coverage of the Suzuki International Series is brought to you by Suzuki. For the last 13 years, the Suzuki International Series has had its 3-round series finish at the Cemetery Circuit in Whanganui on Boxing Day. The Cemetery Circuit pedigree goes back a lot further, as this year we celebrate its 70th anniversary. From humble beginnings, it has developed a worldwide following. And, along with the Suzuki Series, it traditionally kicks off the New Zealand summer of motorcycle racing, catering for 9 classes, including the fire-breathing Formula One superbikes. Two-time series champion Scott Moir knows what to expect here at the Cemetery.
Yeah, I've had it all around here. So I mean, hope to bloody win again like we all want to do. But hey, it's pretty stiff competition with Damon and Mitch and Jaden and all of them. Anyone can pull it out. So I've just got to put my head down really and just push it.
The F2 points leader and former 600 Supersport national champion Avalon Biddle was making her second visit to the cemetery.
I'm excited. Probably not really my style. You have to be really aggressive. It's really short, sharp, and you don't have time to think. You just got to open the throttle and go. So, yeah, it's a challenge for me, but really enjoying it.
Looking forward to the challenge of some resurfacing on the circuit. Supermoto rider Jete Josiah.
Yeah, no, track's awesome. Especially been resealed in the first few corners, 1 and 2. Plenty of grip out there. Well, doesn't seem like for some guys, but should be a good day.
With some of the more notorious bumps now gone on the circuit, defending F2 champion Rogan Chandler was ready to test his Yamaha.
Yeah, turn 1 and 2 are just unreal now. They've taken away a bit of the bumps and it's a lot smoother, so you can get on the gas a bit harder now. So I think that's why everyone's going so fast. The top 10 are quite close, where usually it can get quite separated here. But it's looking really good, and I think the track's in really good condition.
I think turn 1 to turn 2 is exceptional. I mean, there's a couple of little bumps, but I mean, to be honest, you had to run around the manhole in previous years through turn 2 anyway. So turn 2 is amazing compared to. I think we'll see lap times be a lot faster this year.
So the stage was set. The series itself started at the Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park in Taupo. A great crowd, hot sunny weather and record entries set up what would be a great day's racing. Make a return to racing after the COVID-19 shortened season, Superbike champion Alistair Hugenbosen.
I think there's always sort of a target, no matter who's out there. It doesn't matter if you're number 1 or you got 3rd or 2nd in the championship. You're always gunning to beat that guy in front of you. So there's probably a wee bit more pressure from myself that I put on, but it's all the same to the other guys. So you're going to beat that person in front of you.
Third in last year's F1 series was Mitch Rees. While not quite running last year's pace, the older Rees brother knew what he wanted to do.
Had another surgery this year, so just building on getting stronger and fitter and more time on the bike. So yeah, I mean, hey, didn't go as fast in quality this year as last year, but got some work to do. But try and get a good start today and get up the front, try and lead it.
Back home after a season racing BMWs in the BSB, Damon Rees has quickly adapted to his Honda.
It definitely is very different. The Honda has its strengths and also the BMW has its strengths. So there's a few bits and pieces that I had to kind of line up, but the bike, I haven't really had to touch it much this weekend. It was more me getting used to riding again, and I think it's paying off, getting the results, and I'm happy.
In the opening race, it was two-time series champion Scott Moir that got away on his Suzuki. While others lost their heads around him, the New Zealand Superbike champ Alistair Hugenbosen was riding with his. Heaping pressure on Moir at the front soon paid off for the Christchurch man with his first win.
It's good to get the first race of the season out of the way. It's been a wee while since we've actually had a decent race with all the top national guys. So to go out there and get a good start. Don't normally get good starts, so to get a good start and then hang out with Scotty and then slowly pick him off and win the first Suzuki Series race was really good. So we're looking forward to the next one.
In race 2 for the Formula Ones, it was again Moir in the early lead. Chased all the way by Damon Rees and number 43 Alistair Hugenbosen on his Yamaha. Rees forced his way to the front, but after this mistake coming onto the pit straight, gifting the lead back to Moir. But just as he had done in race 1, as the laps wore on, Hugenbosen pounced. Round 2 of the series was at Manfield Circuit Chris Amon, and in race 1 it was a Honda benefit. Mitch Rees debuting the 2021 Fireblade and younger brother Damon backing him up. In third place, Auckland's Daniel Mettam, and in fourth, it was first round points leader Alistair Hugenbosen. Despite setting a fierce pace, that was the way the positions would stay right through to the finish.
Just sort of sat there comfortable, rode my own race, and just trying to learn things with the bike all the time. Like I say, it is a debut season, so or debut weekend. So yeah, for me to get a win and lead the laps and just feel comfortable, I'm pretty happy.
In the second and final race, it was again Mitch Rees who got away best. Taking the fight to him in the early going, Richie Dibbin on his Suzuki. Whether it was a change of setup or mindset, but at the three-quarter mark, Hugenbosen came alive, taking race number 2 from Rees, Scott Moyer and Dan Mettam.
I got told by the team that I needed to put my elbows out in the last race. Was probably a wee bit nappy in the first race, and just with the bad starts. Not a fantastic start in the second race either, but just putting the bike felt so good. I could put it wherever I wanted, and obviously it showed coming from 5th or 6th or wherever it was, and to get Mitch in the last one.
So we zoom on the 92. This is Damon Rees, pole sitter. 64, Adam Chambers back on the big bikes, back on the 1000cc machines. Oh, and the 55, Jaden Carrick looks like he might have preempted the start. We won't say anything for the moment, but it's the 55, the Whanganui Toyota, Whanganui Well Drillers Suzuki of Jaden Carrick that goes out into the front. 91, Barrack Sports Bar sponsored, another Suzuki rider. This is Richie Dibbin. He is the current 600 sports production champion of New Zealand. On board here with David Hall from Te Awamutu. He's moved up from the 600s to the superbikes as Adam Chambers goes past him. Around the Suzuki crossing they go. The race leader, though, continues to be the 55. You're on board here with Damon Rees on the Rees Honda, just getting up the inside of Richie Dibbin, and Dibbin takes it straight back as they head down into the trade zone straight and into the trade zone corner. Looking out the back of Damon Rees' Honda 1000, you see Dibbin as we go back to the front of the field and over the Bridgestone Bridge for the first time. This is Jaden Carrick. Second place man Richie Dibbin. So Whanganui showing out early here in first race of Formula One, brought to you by Reacher, Europe's motorcycle apparel. It's back on board here with Dibbin, currently sitting in third place. That's Damon Rees just up ahead of him as they head up the fastest part of the racetrack, and that is the Sharp As long haul straight through the Suzuki crossing up into the S as they go. Carrick still leads it. Rees just getting a little bit closer here. On board with Jaden Carrick as he comes down through the gearbox and hard under braking for the Robert Holden corner. Well, Jaden's ridden every type of bike you can think of here at the Cemetery Circuit, from Super Motard through to the 600s, through to a Kawasaki Superbike, and now on the Whanganui Toyota Suzuki 1000, and he's in command of this one. But there is a question mark about the start. Did he jump the start? Only us and the officials really know that. Oh, just getting a little bit untidy under brakes as the 92 of Damon Rees sitting comfortably in second place. Still Richie Dibbin in third on the Barrack Sports Bar Suzuki, being wrenched and managed by one Brian Bernard. Long-time racer here out of Whanganui. As you're back on board here with Scott Moyer. Going down the inside of Moyer would have been one of the Kawasaki's, and I've got a feeling that that was Adam Chambers. Positional change at the front of the field coming into Robert Holden, and the 92 of Damon Rees goes into the front. Carrick goes back into second place as he chases through the trade zone corner and heads towards the Bridgestone overbridge once again. So it's Damon Rees now, pole sitter and front runner here at race number 1 for the F1s. It's Carrick through in second place. It's still the 91 of Dibbin through in fourth. And then we would go back to the Chambers on the Kawasaki by the look of it. You're on board here with Scott Moyer, two-time series champion in the Suzuki International Series. Got perilously close to winning the Robert Holden a couple of seasons ago, only to have his pocket picked by one Peter Hickman. No overseas riders because of the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic, but the locals are really turning it on here. We concentrate on this battle further down through the field as Moyer gets a little bit closer to the 64 of Adam Chambers, and conversely, Chambers gets a little bit closer to Richie Dibbin, and Richie Dibbin nearly out of the seat. In fact, out of the seat and nearly off the Barrack Sports Bar Suzuki. So a real moment there for the 91. He's got to retain his composure. Meantime, the field are closing him down. Moyer around the outside of Chambers. Back on board here with Scott Moyer. His next target is Richie Dibbin, a standout on the Super Motard bike for years and years and years. And And as I mentioned before, the current 600 sports production champion in the COVID-19 shortened season. Looking at the back of Mitch Rees' bike, remember Mitch Rees had a problem in the qualifying, started off the back row, so he's cut his way through the field as well. 91 is Dibben, right in behind him too. That is Scott Moyer. Then we go back to 34, and that would be Daniel Medham on the Colemans of K Road Suzuki. On board here with Moyer up into the braking area for the Robert Holden corner once again. Moyer getting a little bit closer to Dibben, can't find a way round though. Mitch Rees just starting to distance Adam Chambers, so that's what's happening in the mid-pack. Out in the front, though, it's still Damon Rees, Mitch's younger brother, in the lead. We're on board here with Scott Moyer as he rockets down the TSS Red Baron front straight and into the Gilmore Homes first turn. Right in behind him, that's Daniel Medham. Just got a glimpse of the Suzuki as they head down the visit WhanganuiNZ.com short shoot and out onto Taupo Key, which is the sharp as long haul straight this year. 64 is Adam Chambers. Mitch Rees coming under attack from the Kawasaki as they go through the crossing. So this little battle group, Mitch Rees just in the back of it. As I said before, Rees had ignition issues with the Honda in the qualifying, so he started off the very back of the grid. So now he's slowly but surely making his way to the front. That's him on the 92 on the brand new Honda Firebane, the 2021 model. 91, Richie Dibben. First season on the Superbike. Barrack Sports Bar helping him out as across the line goes the 55 of Jaden Carrick. We're back on board here with Mitch Rees looking out the back of the bike. The number 2 is Scott Moyer out of Rotorua on the Carl Vandermeer Builders Suzuki, New Zealand Suzuki. Just up ahead of him, it is Rees as they come out of turn number 2. Here is the race leader though, and he's all on his own at the moment, and this is young Damon Rees. He spent pretty much a whole season in the British Superbikes racing a BMW, but he's quickly adapted to the Honda, and he's in the front here and in command. Jaden Carrick sits in second place. Then we go back to the 91. That is Dibben. Behind him it is Daniel Medham. Then we go back to the 92 of Rees. Then it would be the 64 of Adam Chambers in this group as well as the number 2 of Scott Moyer. So you could throw a blanket over the minor placings. Out in the front, still the 92 from the 55. And there he is, coming out of the Gilmore turn, down the short chute and onto the sharp as long haul straight. And that is young Damon Rees. Had his British season cut short when he injured his shoulder. Now back in New Zealand. There's older brother Mitch, still engaged in a titanic battle for the minor placings, as Damon heads down the versatile building straight and into the trade zone Robert Holden turn once again. Looks round, wonders where his opposition is. Well, we can tell him they're fairly distant as he'll come through and cruise down to the checkered flag. What a great start it's been for young Damon Rees here in the Suzuki International Series, the third and final round. Checkered flag comes out and Rees gets the win. In second place it will be Jaden Carrick, but hold all tickets because we think he might be coming under the official's eye for that supposedly jump start. So that will move Daniel Medham up into second place and Mitch Rees from the back of the field to third.
It's something I've always wanted to do after watching Dad dominate for so many years. He is the legend of Whanganui, and it's just nice to put the Rees name at the front again. Yeah, I mean, it feels really good. The bike just doesn't do a thing wrong, so just makes it easy for me. All I got to do is twist the throttle and use the brakes, eh?
Well, let's have a look at the replay of that one. 55 it was. Jaden Carrick got away first. But as we said, we suspect that may be a jump start. Have a look at this moment here for Richie Dibben. Just about out of the saddle on the Barrack Sports Bar Suzuki. And he repeats the dose here. He is living by his wits alone here at the Cemetery Circuit is Richie Dibben. So official results see that it is Damon Rees in first place. A 20-second jump start penalty for Jaden Carrick takes him out of the results. So that means Medham is second, Rees third, Dibben and Moyer. Plenty of action still to come from the Cemetery Circuit right after this. While the local council are always right behind the Cemetery Circuit racing and have been for years, the resurfacing and the removal of some of the notorious bumps making the track smoother and safer, but the cemetery was ready to bite the unwary. Good news, even after all this, there were no serious injuries on the day. no obvious standouts in the supermotos this time, the class was looking for a new hero, and it found it in the long, tall shape of Jetty Josiah and his Yamaha.
I've ridden once in a year since today, so yeah, and otherwise just playing around on the motocross bike and keeping the fitness up. But yeah, no, awesome, yeah, bit of a surprise there, managed to pull it out of the bag, yep.
Josiah's riding, possibly due to COVID-19, has been confined to just the dirt, but it certainly didn't show. Getting the whole shot in race 1, he pulled away for the lead. A perfect score from Taupo's round 1 and on to Manfield's Circuit Chris Amon, where they run the supermotos anti-clockwise, and the man from Whanganui repeated the dose. This time, Jono Hamlin was closer, but still a distant second. It was the veteran Mitch Rowe in the early going that took the fight to Josiah, but it wasn't long before business as usual for the lanky Yamaha man. 2 rounds and 4 wins, a perfect score for Josiah.
Hanging out for Whanganui, it's one of the favourites, so had a bit of bad luck there last year with the bike blowing up and qualifying, so had to sit it out, but hopefully we can pull it out the bag this year.
Well, there's no doubt about it, the man to beat is the man on the Yamaha, that is Jetty Josiah. We're just looking in on Jason Clark. Mitch Rowe, the veteran, on the second row. Watch 2 for Ben Dowman on the Honda. They're just about set to turn them loose. Once again, in his 8 laps for the Supermotos, brought to you by Amerex, Delivery Unlimited, and into the front goes the 63 of Josiah, but tailing him all the way through the Gilmore Homes first turn was the Suzuki 931 there of Jono Hamlin. He got closest to him at Manfield at round 2 of the Suzuki International Series. You're on board here with Mitch Rowe, number 007, one of the veterans of Supermoto. This is Jetty Josiah, son of Russell, past New Zealand Superbike champion. In second place, it's Jono Hamlin on the Suzuki. And then in third, it's Rowe. And then we go back to Ben Dowman by the look of it. So once again, the Whanganui lads are starting to come to the fore here. But it's Tamranui's favourite son, Jetty Josiah, in the front. You're on board here with Mitch Rowe. Just recently wrapped up another veterans motocross title. Now well into his 50s is the man from Taranaki. Been riding motocross and supermotard for a long, long time on Husky these days, and that's him sitting in third place. Across the stripe they go of the TSS Red Baron front straight. You're on board here with James Clark on the number 10, the Honda. And James is sitting in third place coming into this, the third and final round of the Suzuki International Series. Just got a glimpse of his bike there. It's a Honda and it's predominantly yellow. And James building a lot of the exhaust system and doing a lot of the engineering for some of his main rivals. Hamlin getting a little bit closer to Josiah as they work their way through the S's and up into Robert Holden, the trade zone Robert Holden. You're on board here with one of the characters from Whanganui. This is Craig Cudge Scott. Started off the supermoto trend years and years and years ago now. I think it was in Formula 3 back in the day when Cudge turned up on a KX500 Kawasaki, which complied with all the rules at the time, and he laid the Formula 3 field to waste. He's better known these days as the major mover and shaker of the track construction. In fact, he wouldn't have got to bed much before about 6 this morning. Such has been the construction of this circuit, because we're racing on public roads, remember. Every other day of the year. This is, well, not quite the main thoroughfare of Whanganui, but pretty close to it. Back on board here with Clark as they head down the Sharp As long haul straight into the Suzuki crossing and heading up into the S's now. This is a battle on your screen at the moment for 5th and 6th. James Clark's just got around Craig Cudge Scott and now working on Ben Dowman. Passes Dowman up the inside. Dowman takes it straight back as they head down into the trade zone Robert Holden turn and up into the trade zone corner. Race leader, there's been a change. It's the Suzuki. You see him have a cheeky look behind to see where Jetty Josiah is. Well, he's right on him as they go over the Bridgestone Bridge. You're on board here with Mitch Rowe. A distant third place now is Mitch on the Husky. It's him, number 007. Says he's got that bike exactly as he likes it now. Been a couple of years in development for Taranaki's Mitch Rowe. Race is pretty near anything there is going. You're on board with him here as he heads up Taupo Key. Currently sitting comfortably in third place. Behind him it would be Dowman. Then in fact it'd be James Clark, and then it would possibly be Dowman. You just see them in the background, and Craig Scott in that little battle group as well. This is the race leader though, down the versatile builders straight and into the Robert Holden turn as we focus on third place. Mitch Rowe in and out of the trade zone corner and heading towards Hooker's Curves now. Mitch sitting in third. Fourth place man is Dowman, so he's got back around both Craig Scott and James Clark as they come over the Bridgestone Bridge and down the front straight. This is the TSS Red Baron Straight, and if anything, it looked to me like Josiah getting a little bit closer to Jono Hamlin. Hamlin doing the job at the moment on the 931, the Suzuki RM450. Brought to you by Dibben Schwartz Suzuki and Physiotherapy Hand Clinic of Whanganui. This is Ben Dowman back on board here with Clark. Pretty near top gear on the Super Motard machine. Essentially motocross bikes that have been fettled and developed to race on the roads. They put smaller wheels on them, obviously slick tyres. Sometimes they lessen the massive suspension travel that motocross bikes have these days. And you have a very competitive machine. On board with Clarkie, going through Robert Holden. Currently sitting in 5th or 6th place with laps to run in this one. Amorex bring it to you, Delivery Unlimited. Long-time supporters of the Super Motard class as we go back to the front of the field. No sign of the white flag, so laps left to run as Josiah starts to put on a little bit of a charge as they head down into the Gilmore Homes, turn number 1. There is Clark, there is Cudge Scott. We're on board here with Craig Scott. Just up ahead of him, it is Clark. We go back to the front of the field, coming out of the crossing and into the S's now. Still the Suzuki. Jetty Josiah getting a little bit closer, but he just hasn't quite got the weaponry to put the attack on Jono Hamlin on the Suzuki out in the front. You recognise those leathers there, the ex-Andrew Stroud leathers. Andrew Stroud, a long, lanky person in his own right, and when Jetty was looking for leathers, Andrew Stroud's cast-offs were the only ones that fit him. Across the Bridgestone Bridge they come once again, white flag out, and these two have cleared away. In third place, still the veteran Mitch Rowe. Then we go back to Ben Dowman and James Clark, but it is still this battle we concentrate on. The Suzuki of Jono Hamlin, number 931, right in behind him, the 63 of Jetty Desire, unbeaten at Taupo and also Manfield, but sitting in second place for the moment. You're on board here with James Clark. Just ahead of him, it is the man they call Cudge, and that is Craig Scott. As I said, a forerunner of Supermoto. The fact when Cudge was riding his Kawasaki round the cemetery circuit, there was no such thing as Supermoto, and he's still doing it, and he's still one of the fastest there, the 62 of Craig Scott. Down the inside comes Clark, so he picks up the spot. You're on board here with Mitch Rowe, heading into Robert Holden, and that is Ben Dowman down the inside of Rowe. Just runs it a little bit wide, and I think Mitch is going to take it straight back again. No, he doesn't. Another brilliant move coming from Ben Dowman, just about cut the water off of Mitch Rowe. He has a look behind to see that Mitch is still up on 2 wheels. We can tell him that he is, as these two cross the Bridgestone Bridge, as the leader comes across and gets a checkered flag, and it is Jono Hamlin getting the win in the Amorex Supermoto. In second place it will be the points leader, and that is number 63. Thumbs up to Hamlin from Jetty Josiah, and in third place it will be Mitch Rowe, just hanging on by the skin of his teeth from Ben Dowman.
Yeah, I actually suffered from a bit of arm pump actually, which was terrible, but hey, it was fun. Jet's going well.
Hey, congratulations, and a few beers later on might soothe that arm pump for you. Congrats, mate.
So officially the results have Jono Hamlin in the front from Jetty Josiah, Mitch Rowe, Ben Dowman, and in fifth it is James Clark. We've got to take a break, but still to come, the F2s and the sidecars here at Whanganui. Defending champion Rogan Chandler took up where he left off for this year's Suzuki International Series in the F2 class. Finally getting his starts nailed, he pulled away with what looked like ease for a classy win in race 1.
I usually never get good starts, so we've been working on that a lot, me and my dad, so I'm super happy. It's like my first ever whole shot in the 600 class, so yeah, finally got the start sorted, and that seemed to be the key to what helped me, ride a bit better. It's easier to lead from the front than trying to fight your way through.
Leading from the front is what Chandler tried to do in race 2, but to do that he had to pass the Triumph 675 of Dale Finch. And that's exactly what he did, only to have Finch pass him back and go on for the win.
Well, back sweeper, I knew I was always getting better drive out of there from Rogan, so I knew if I just sat behind him most of the race, last lap I could just get the drive out of there.
At Manfield, it was again Finch blasting off the line, but his race would only last 3 laps. When Chandler did hit the front, he pulled out a big lead over newcomer and the find of the series thus far, Zach Fuller, with Avalon Biddle through in third.
Yeah, well, it's a good cushion at the moment, and you know, if we can wrap up the second race, you know, with a good finish, first or second, or whatever we come away with, then yeah, I can head into Whanganui with a bit of a buffer and not so stressful on that day.
For the second and final F2 race of the day at Manfield, it was New Zealand's First Lady of Motorcycling, Avalon Biddle, on her MTF Kawasaki that led early. When Chandler threw it away at the sweeper, that gave Dale Finch the lead and the win from a hard-charging Avalon Biddle. Zach Fuller again finding the podium on his Rees Honda. It would also give Avalon the points lead, and with it, a change of heart about racing at Whanganui.
Yeah, it's a little more serious this year. Last year I came just to give it a go, see what Symmetry Circuit was all about, and I wasn't actually planning on coming this year, but leading the points, everything's going really well with the bike, and great support from MTF Finance once again, so I thought let's be part of the show and put it on for the crowd.
An up and down series for Auckland's Toby Summers, but the Symmetry is where he always has shone in the past.
Wasn't quite as quick as I'd like to be in qualifying. We've qualified 4th, which is not too bad. It's front row on the outside, so it's not a bad spot, just depends how I can get out the gate. So yeah, I'll give it everything I've got and hopefully come out with some results.
That clumsy crash at Manfield had cost Rogan Chandler the points lead and maybe shaken his confidence, but you wouldn't know it.
I've never been that fast here, but you know, qualified pole this morning, and I'm feeling really good on the bike, so I think I can run that pace for the whole race, and yeah, I think it's all about just clawing some points back on her and trying to keep Toby behind me, really.
The find of the series on the Rees Honda 600 was Taupo's multiple Gixxer 150 champion, Zach Fuller.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable, really. Didn't think I'd be here straight away off the gun, and yeah, just backed it up this morning with P2 and qualifying at Whanganui. So yeah, it's started off to be a good day. Yeah.
So this is race 1 of the Formula 2, brought to you by iPone on 100% motorcycle. Just waiting for the field to grid up. Have a look there for number 6, that's David Hall. Alongside him, number 11, Seth Devereaux, for all the way from Invercargill. Watch 2 for Avalon Biddle, that's her on the second row. And watch 2 for number 80. He's been the find of the series so far, and that is young Zach Fuller. But it is the 15 of Rogan Chandler on the Yamaha that leads them through as we go on board here with Chandler, and that's Dale Finch that's gone down the inside of him on the Scott Structural Triumph. On board here with Chandler as they head down the sharp as long haul straight. The Triumph glued to the back of the Yamaha of Chandler. Through the Suzuki crossing they go. Looks like Seth Devereaux on the MV Augusta through in third place. And then we might have got the first glimpse of David Hall. Hall riding 2 classes today here at Whanganui. So already been out on the superbikes to see him on the F2s as well. On board here with Seth Devereaux on the Hurleycraft Racing MV Augusta. It's him back in about third place at the moment over the Bridgestone Bridge for the first of 8 times. Goes the F2 field. On board here with Avalon Biddle, making her second visit to the Symmetry Circuit. She was a bit overawed by it last year, I'm sure. She will let you know. But this time she comes in as the points leader in F2. So out of turn 1 comes Rogan Chandler. You're on board here with Toby Summers taking the unusual shot as they head down the sharp as long haul straight. Looking at the back of the bike of Summers, that's the number 80 of Zach Fuller. What a find he's been in F2. Podiums at Manfield and Taupo in rounds 2 and 1. As you're on board here with Fuller heading into the Robert Holden turn, down the Versatile building straight he comes, or just getting a little bit sideways on the Tony Rees CBR 600. Race leader continues to be the 15 of Rogan Chandler, 17 Dale Finch in second place, the Scott Structural Triumph, 675. Back on board here with Fuller. Ahead of him, it is the Carl Cox Motorsport machine of Toby Summers. Fuller's got a full head of steam as he heads down into the Gilmore Holmes turn 1, and he might have got ahead of Summers here. You go back on board here, looking out the back of Zach Fuller's Honda, and that is filled with the number 22 of Summers. So a position change for young Zach Fuller. Heading through the Suzuki crossing is the 15 of Chandler. Getting a little bit closer was the 17 of Finch. Down the inside of Seth Devereaux on the 11 comes the 6 of David Hall, a standout for the last few seasons on the 600cc machines. And they're the bikes that make up the F2 class here in the Suzuki International Series. On board here with Devereaux, and he gets his pocket picked as well, and that's young Zach Fuller. So Fuller's picked up a couple of spots in the space of a lap. On board, looking out the back of the Rees Motorcycles, Honda CBR 600, and you see Seth Devereaux. So 15, 17, 6, 80, 11 and 22 would be the order at the moment at the front of the 600 field. There is number 6, the Goodyear Racing Kawasaki of David Hall. Oh, and he just gets tossed out of the seat as they come through turn 2. And that is the Mars Pet Care corner. Meantime, back on board here with Zach Fuller, and he puts the acid on Hall. Hall comes straight back at him as they head down the Versatile Builders straight. On the inside, it's the 80, the Honda of Zach Fuller. He's got track position. He takes the spot. Hall tries to take it straight back, but he can't do it. So Zach Fuller clawing his way toward the front of the field. Hall certainly not giving it up without a fight as they're side by side heading for the Bridgestone Bridge this time around. No change at the front of the field. Still the 15 of Chandler leading it. You're on board here with Zach Fuller. Right in behind him, it is the 6 of Tawamutu's David Hall. Couldn't get any closer as they head into Gilmore Homes, turn number 1, and down the short chute and into the Mars Pet Care turn. This battle on your screen, the battle for 3rd and 4th. Out in front, it's still the 15 from the 17. Back on board with Fuller as he goes around the Suzuki crossing. Plenty of people in the hospitality enjoying Suzuki's compliments and the racing here at a sun-drenched Whanganui. Up through the cemetery that gives this circuit its name, the Head Cemetery. This great battle going on between the Honda and the Kawasaki for the minors. All the while, they're just starting to get a little bit closer to Dale Finch. That's him in second place. Just saw him at the front of the shot there. They head over the Bridgestone Bridge once again. So it's 15, 17, 80 and 6 the order. On board here with Fuller. Down the TSS Red Baron Straight they come. There is David Hall on the Kawasaki. Last year, of course, he was Suzuki mounted. He's on a Suzuki in the Superbikes, but it's the Kawasaki green. He races around the circuit here at the cemetery. Avalon Biddle started off the second row. She's got a bit of work to do as she rounds up a couple in front of her. Down the visit WhanganuiNZ.com straight. So just trying to close in on Tarbin Walker on the 21. Also in that group, the number 20, Dion Telford on the MV, and Jeff Crute on the 99, the Honda. Back on board here with Avalon as she comes around the Suzuki crossing and up into the S's, the 50, the MTF Kawasaki. 2 seasons ago, she was the 600 sports champion outright in New Zealand. Didn't have a very good season last year. She was blighted by some injuries, but now coming back to her very best. And as I said, she was the points leader going into this one. You're on board once again with Zach Fuller, currently sitting in 3rd place. Make it 2nd place now, because I think he's just got past the 17 of Dale Finch. There is the race leader. That is Rogan Chandler. This will put him back into the points lead, I would think, as one more race to go. So it is the 80 up into 2nd now. That's Zach Fuller on the Rees Motorcycle Honda. And then we go back to the 17, and that is Dale Finch. So Finch must have made a little bit of a mistake out there on the Scott Structural Triumph. On board here with Toby Summers. And he's kind of the meat caught in the sandwich at the moment as they come out of the trade zone turn, head towards the Hooker Transport curves now. And that is Seth Devereaux. He's about to put a position behind. Devereaux comes straight back at him as they go over the Bridgestone Bridge. And that would be just outside the top 5 at the moment. So maybe 5th and 6th you're watching on your screen. This is the 22 of Toby Summers on the R&R Powersport Carl Cox machine. Just ahead of him, it is Seth Devereaux on the Helicraft Racing Joe's Garage MV Augusta. So we're back on board here with Avalon Biddle. It's taken her a while, but she finally gets up the inside of Tarbin Walker on the 21. And the 99 there of Crute trying to go with Biddle, just can't quite go her pace at the moment. So Avalon's starting to make her way toward the front as the laps wind down here in the iPone 100% motorcycle Formula 2 race 1 here at the Cemetery Circuit. 3rd and final race of the Suzuki Series for 2020, and it's the Wellingtonian Rogan Chandler on the Yamaha R6 that gets the win. In 2nd place, it's the number 80, and that is Zach Fuller. And in 3rd place, it would be Dale Finch on the Scott Structural Triumph.
I usually don't do too great here, so
We came here this morning and Robert's been working with the YSS suspension in the rear, and the bike's just unreal. Like, it just can't put a foot wrong. So I'm pretty happy to finally actually win a race at Whanganui instead of cruising around. So now I'm happy as.
So Rogan Chandler gets a win under the belt here at Whanganui. In second place it is Zach Fuller. Third place goes to Dale Finch, and in fourth it's David Hall. In fifth place on the MV Augusta is Steve Devereaux. Still to come here at Whanganui, we've got the amazing sidecars. That's right after the break. As is customary in the Suzuki International Series, the F1 and F2 sidecars race together, but are scored separately, creating exciting racing right down the field. At the front of the F1 field, F2 defending champion Barry Smith on the Carl Cox LCR. But it wasn't Tracy Bryant swinging for him. Instead, it was his old closest rival, Stu Dorr, who was last seen with Adam Unsworth. Unsworth, who took the fight to Smith, now had Bryce Rose on the side of his rig.
So keen on the F1 round Whanganui. I prefer to ride the F2, but obviously if we're leading the F1 points, even if we just trundle around, yeah, that's probably what we'll need to do, just to keep the bike safe and ourselves safe.
At Manfield's round 2, the battles got even closer, with Unsworth and Smith nearly trading paint. An engine explosion and the resulting fire in the second sidecar race meant that race had to be declared. When Barry and partner Stu saw the improvements to the track at Whanganui, they were happy to be on the F1 chair.
The alterations they've done to the track has kind of relieved a little bit of the tension I had about bringing the F1 here. One of the big bumps that could cause a potential problem has been taken out, and we've just done qualifying, and it's actually a whole lot nicer to ride round turn 1 and 2 now than it was before.
The Carl Cox name also featured in the F2 class, with Tracy Bryant and Joe Mickelson second in the F2s heading to Whanganui.
So we raced together for about 4 years before I moved to Australia, or 5 years. And then I broke up the team, unfortunately, and moved overseas for a bit, did my OE, and when I came back I was on classics with my father for consistently, but I always wanted to get back on F2s. So
Carl said I could ride this, so I thought there was only one person I'd ask. So yeah, so we just hope to get both bikes up on the podium at some point, and that's the plan.
So we're set for a start in the first sidecar race of the day, brought to you by Carl Cox Motorsport. There is the 12 of them, Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. 69 leading in the F2s, that is Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. We get set to go and watch for the 73. That is Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. And it is the 73 that will head into the Gilmore Homes turn 1 in first place. Right in behind them is Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose, and in third place a great start for the F2 machine of Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. They head down the sharp as long haul straight and into the Suzuki crossing. On board here with Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. As we said, there's been a bit of a change of the guard because Stu Dorr now swinging for Barry Smith. Always in the past has swung for Adam Unsworth, both those boys local Whanganui-ites, but there's been a change. Stu hurt himself pretty badly a few seasons ago at a crash in Taupo and decided to give it away, and Adam too put the bike in the shed for a little while. Those days it was powered by a Honda, now it's powered by an Aprilia, as you're on board here looking into the face of Stu Dorr. Right in behind him, his old driving partner, and that is Adam Unsworth, and Unsworth getting a little bit closer there and still moving up into third place. It is the 69, and that is Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Down the short chute they come, and number 12 trying to climb into the boot of the LCR, the 73 machine, and that is Adam Unsworth, as I said, powered by an Aprilia motorcycle engine. This is the Carl Cox 73. Barry, the defending F2 champion, with Tracy Bryant. Tracy riding with Joe Mickelson. She's second on points in the F2 competition. Remember, F1 and F2 together, but scored separately. Adam Unsworth trying to get a little bit closer, just a little bit ragged coming out of the trade zone corner as you're on board here now with Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. Look how close they get to the 73 rig, but they just can't quite make the pass stick as they go through the hooker curves and head up over the Bridgestone Bridge. So it's as close as you like at the front of the field here for the Carl Cox Motorsport F1 and F2 sidecars. Stu Dorr leans over as they head down into the Gilmore Homes turn 1, taking slightly different line there, but closing up the gap is Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. This combination working very, very well, and they've picked up a little bit more space between themselves and the 73 of Smith and Dorr as you ride here with Stu Dorr and Barry Smith. Out of the Suzuki crossing they come once again, and now it's the 12 that's set to pounce, trying to go down the inside as they head under the Emmets Powerco Bridge and up into the Robert Holden corner. It's on for young and old here in the sidecars. It's a 73 of Barry Smith and Stu Dorr looking out the back of the LCR, the Carl Cox LCR. You see the number 12, the Boss Engineering Wheel Magician, number 12, the Aprilia of Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. Once again getting closer as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge. If anything, it looks like Smith just has a slight advantage as they head down the TSS Red Baron front straight and into the Gilmore Homes turn number 1. This time though, the 12 leaves the braking a little bit on the early side. This is the battle for 3rd and 4th on your screen. Spike Taylor and Kerry Pitt just in behind them now. It is the 69 of Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Now Michelle McLean is a paramedic, works for the Rescue Helicopter Trust, and she would be, I would think, if she was 60 kilograms ringing wedge, she'd be lucky. So she's one of the smallest swingers we've got. As you have a look at the past New Zealand champion, Spike Taylor, on the Penrite rig. Kelly Pitt doing the swinging for him. We go back to the front of the field and a terrible slide for Adam Unsworth. Well, that's cost him any chance, I think, of maybe getting the win here. Just got it a little bit wrong coming out of the trade zone corner. Got very, very sideways indeed. Luckily missed the curb, but look at the advantage he's given away as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge once again. This is the first of the F2s. This is Mark Hall and Michelle McLean. And Mark was poised to live his dream and go to Europe and race sidecars in Europe, but then unfortunately something called COVID-19, which turned into a worldwide pandemic, put the kibosh on that and nearly put the kibosh on the whole motorcycle season here in New Zealand. We're lucky that our government has had the foresight to rein in the disease, or we wouldn't be here at Whanganui. 28 is Tracy Bryan and Joe Mickelson. They're second in the F2 competition. And then behind them, it's the 76 of Bruce Roberts and Jim Bilby. And I think I would say without contradiction that they'd be the oldest combination here in the Carl Cox Motorsport sidecars. On board here with Roberts and Bilby as they head down into the Suzuki crossing over the railway line. Certainly not the huge obstacle it was back in the day. We're celebrating the 70th year of racing here at the Cemetery Circuit. As on board we go with Bruce Roberts and Jim Bilby heading through the Head Cemetery up into the Robert Holden corner. They're chasing down the girls, and that is Tracy Bryan and Joe Mickelson. Joe regularly competing with her father, Neville, in classic sidecars. And of course, as we said, Tracy paired up with Barry last year to win the F2s. They're second in points at the moment to Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Still doing a pretty good job in the Carl Cox Motorsport 600cc machine. That's the difference between the F1 and the F2. This is the F1 machine leading the race. This is Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. Unbelievably, what a comeback it's been for Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose, because they've closed up the gap once again as they go through the trade zone corner on the race leaders. You're on board here with Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. Just look how gymnastically gifted you have to be to ride one of these things very, very fast. And look at this, the 12 is right back on the tail of the 73 and no sign of the white flag, so there's plenty of laps left to run. 73, Barry Smith and Stu Dorr leading Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose as they head down the Visit WhanganuiNZ.com straight. Oh, and getting very wild coming out onto Taupo Key that time was the 12. Just shows how hard that Adam Unsworth is trying. He always performs in front of the home crowd, both Stu Dorr and Adam Unsworth, Whanganuiites. Great to see them racing again here around the Cemetery Circuit, but this time not paired together. They're rivals as they head down into the Robert Holden turn once again. The 12 gets a little bit closer, gets a good drive coming out of Robert Holden, and they at one stage close enough to touch Stu Dorr as they head through the trade zone corner and down through the hooker transport curves once again. 73 holds on to it. Over the Bridgestone Bridge they come this time. Will we see the white flag? Is it going to be the dance of the desperates for Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose? They've got to do something about it this lap, because we do see the white flag. It's the 73 in control, but carrying huge speed. Oh, and a problem there for Barry Smith, and we've got a leader change, and we're on the last lap. Well, that is a model of tenacity for Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose, because they've gone into the front, and who says they can't hold it? Down into the Suzuki crossing they come. The Boss Engineering, Aprilia powered Windle. In behind them, it's the Carl Cox Motorsport LCR of Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. But out in the front is Adam Unsworth. To think that Unsworth and Dorr used to be partnered up, and now they're the bitterest of rivals, and if anything, the 12's starting to get away. You're right here with Unsworth and Rose as they work their way through the trade zone corner for the last time. Through the Hooker Transport curves they come now. Checkered flag will be out for the combination on the number 12. What a comeback in the first of the Carl Cox Motorsport sidecar events, and the win goes to Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose. In second place it will be Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. And is Adam Unsworth happy with that? You bet your life he is. The Whanganui boy performing in front of a home crowd. He will be over the moon with that performance.
Oh mate, I tell you, that's you know, born and bred Whanganui, mate. It's nothing like coming back home and winning your home race, is it? You know, it's just yeah, speechless at the moment. But look, yeah, Bryce just doing an outstanding job on the back. Yeah, we had a massive moment and sort of just picked a bad line there, and the front end got away on us, and yeah, lucky to save it and stay in the race. So now just patient, just chipped away, and I could see them coming, close and close. So no, we'll just keep chipping away, you know. And so yeah, but look, Mass, I just want to say a huge thanks to our team. You know, finally we get a win for the team, and that's the most important thing in our day today.
So official results see that Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose get the win from Barry Smith and Stu Dorr. In third place it's Spike Taylor and Kelly Pitt, and in fourth and the first of the F2 machine is Mark Halls and Michelle McLean. Well, that is it for part one of our coverage of the Cemetery Circuit here for 2020. Come back next week on CRC Motorsport for all-important part two, including the Robert Holden Memorial Feature Race. You won't want to miss that.